And then, ladies, be careful with dating out here because these men want to humble you. Humble culture is at an all-time high right now. They want to diminish you, they want to devalue you, they want to berate and belittle you.
Well, I really hate to burst your bubble. Really, I don't. But the only reason why humble culture is a thing, as you say, is because it's an answer to overinflated ego culture, which is what women like yourself are a part of.
There's no way I am letting any man near me for the next few years.
Are you delusional? Do you suffer from a mental illness?
I think imaginary men approaching you are the least of your worries. I don't think they want to fight with that bucket of drumsticks from KFC that you have standing between them and you. I think you'll be good.
Brainwashed, bitchy, bitter, and now bald. I think I finally understand the 4B movement.
Oh my God, that sums it up perfectly.
What's good, everybody? Y'all know what it is. This is your boy Love coming at you guys with another reaction video. I want to welcome you all to my channel, and those of you who are new and returning, welcome to another episode of Love, Life, and the Game. And yo, man, today's topic is going to be on this 4B movement. The feminists are at it again. Still pissed off and upset that Kamala Harris did not win the election. You know, they're doing everything from blaming men, blaming black men, everybody else except themselves and the Democratic Party. So we're going to get into this, man. But let me give you guys a little bit of background for those of you who don't know what the 4B movement is. The 4B movement was started by women in South Korea, and it was to protest the oppression that they felt they were getting from South Korean men. So the 4Bs were no sex, no marriage, no dating, and no children. Well, now, women here in America, and this is primarily feminists who are upset about the results of the election, have caught on to it and are now championing it here in America. Go figure. I want you guys to keep something in mind. These ratchet-ass women that are making this decision to do this, and by the way, the only person they're really hurting is themselves. They're not going to get the effect from men that they think they are. These women have the capacity to go out and vote. Let that sink in for a minute. They've done absolutely no research. I'm willing to bet you absolutely none of them have actually read a single page from Roe v. Wade. For all you male-hating feminists out there, I'm about to take your asses to school. But before I do that, let me address black women first, because all of you owe black men an apology. Those of you who are blaming black men for why Kamala Harris lost, even though we showed up at 78%, we didn't show up at any subordinate rate than what we always show up at. And here you are trying to blame us for why Kamala Harris lost. You owe us an apology. I shouldn't have to show you this shit. This is what makes you an embarrassment. I got a reality check for you, ladies. Even if black men had showed up at 91% and matched your energy, she still would have lost. Okay? Kamala Harris, she didn't just lose the election, she got fired. The real reason why Roe v. Wade was put in place, it was to allow the medical exception for women whose lives were threatened by carrying a baby to full term. That's the real reason for Roe v. Wade. It wasn't for you dumbass hyenas who went to a club, got drunk, got a one-night stand and got pregnant for you to use abortion clinics as a form of birth control. That is not what it was for.
Abortion is now illegal in Texas because the state never repealed its abortion laws that were in place before Roe v. Wade.
But you didn't know that.
So those are now enforceable again. Here's how the trigger law outlines medical exceptions where abortion is legal. It says the procedure is legal if pregnancy aggravates or causes the risk of death or substantial impairment of a major bodily function.
Now, I told you guys I had a gem for you. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Norma McCorvey, the poster child for Roe versus Wade.
In 1969, Norma was a 21-year-old single woman in Dallas, Texas, who was struggling financially and regularly abusing drugs and alcohol. She was also pregnant with her third child. She had surrendered custody of her first child to her mother and placed her second child for adoption. With her third child, she sought an abortion.
Are you guys starting to see a pattern here? Don't this sound familiar?
But abortion was illegal in Texas. At the time, abortion was only legal in a handful of states, like California and New York, and Norma didn't have the means to travel to one of those states. Based on advice from others, Norma even began to lie that she'd become pregnant from a gang rape.
It looks like this woman would fit right in with all these feminists who want to join the 4B movement. You know what they all have in common? None of them want to take responsibility for the choices they made.
It was one of many lies that Roe v. Wade would be based on. Norma became the target of two young and ambitious lawyers, recently out of school, who wanted to change the abortion laws in America: Sarah Weddington and Linda Coffey.
Y'all, I'm not going to play the entire video, but I'm going to leave a link to it in the description so you can watch the rest of it. It's titled The True Story Behind Roe v. Wade. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. It is very informative. And those of you, no matter what side of the spectrum you fall on, I think it is a good watch for all of us because the goal of this is to be informed.
I want Barack Obama and every Democrat out there to know you do not own Black people. We are not slaves. Our chains are gone. We do not owe you anything, and we don't have to give you an account for how we choose to vote.
The Democrats then unleashed Barack Obama into the wild to shame us Black men for not supporting Kamala Harris, despite the fact that she's yet to unveil any policies that represent our interests. But if it was a white politician shaming other white men for not voting based on identity politics, y'all will call him racist. Why is it okay for Barack Obama, Kamala Harris, and all these other people that supposedly look like me, why is it okay for them to get on TV and shame me for not voting for them simply because they look like me? Why is it okay for them to get on TV and shame me for not voting for them simply because they look like me?
The man's got a point.
The audacity of you to say to us that we are required and we better vote for Kamala Harris and that we don't want to see a woman in a position of power. You're a liar. You're a liar.
I might get some violations and I may offend some people with what I'm going to say, and I don't give a f. To all you Latinos that voted for Trump, I hope he mass deports you and your entire family. Whether you were here legally or not, you got to go. I hope he does that. To you Black men who your fragile ego couldn't take a Black woman in office, so you either voted for Trump or you didn't vote at all. The police will now have carte blanche to murder you right where you stand. And when they do that, there's not going to be no GoFundMes. Don't ask your family to ask us for shit. Just die. They can't afford to bury you. Dig a hole in their backyard. It is what it is.
You're a bitter little person, aren't you?
Ladies and gentlemen, Exhibit A. These are the same Black women that don't want to go out with you unless they find you financially attractive. This is what you deal with when you deal with people who have done no research and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. You, ma'am, are an absolute dumbass. You probably should stay off the internet. But before you go, I got an interesting stat for you and every other Black woman who wants to blame Black men for why Kamala Harris lost. Since the inception of Planned Parenthood, Black women, yeah, you guys, have aborted over 20 million babies. Not 20, not 20,000, 20 million. I'm not a mathematician, but I'm pretty sure if you made the choice to have those babies instead of aborting them, there's 20 more million votes you could have had. Ladies, your body, your choice doesn't mean you get freedom from the consequences of your choices. And you know what the most ironic thing is? All of you pro-abortionists have one thing in common. You've all already been born. Let that sink in.